Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk to you about the case that I selected for this term project, doing business in the Americas. I'm Juan Carlos Oñate. I want to talk to you about this incredible strategic move from one of the biggest companies from Mexico. I'm talking about Cemex. Cemex is a cement company, but she wasn't the biggest cement company that we all knew. So basically, those younger guys know Cemex as the big company that it is right now. But I want to talk about a specific topic that moved this business environment when I read it. And it was his strategic move to a very aggressive move from one of his competitors called Holcim, who was the second largest company in the world. And for the 80s, he decided to come here in Mexico and have a little fight with Cemex in his local ground. So uh, Holcim bought a big company here in Mexico to try to establish his market, and Cemex did a great, quite move, and he realized he had to pick up a fight in Holcim's backyard. So he went and bought a Spain company, and he realized that he was not only competing in Spain, that he was able to transfer his knowledge from the local business in Mexico to his business in Spain. So this quite was something impressive about them because they didn't thought that some information for his Mexican brand could eventually go implemented in Spain and be quite successful. So that was a quite change in the way Cemex thought about his internationalization. Sorry, and when they realized that they were about as good as internationally that he were on the local market, they decided to continue doing things. So they went to Colombia, Venezuela, and the Caribbean at the second move. Then he realized that they got a little cocky and they thought that the only Mexican way was the way to do so. So in the Colombian market, it was very hard to establish a real good transition. So what Cemex realized is that they were not just only have to implement the Mexican way, but they have to learn the best practices in about the local markets that we're getting. So this gave them another knowledge. So this was later known as the Cemex Way. And that Cemex Way was able to allow Cemex to integrate his processes and his brands all around the world into one big, gigantic process. This is known as the Cemex Way. And it's not all other things that override the current processes have experienced and very talented teams to get to know the local processes, to have identified these best practices and not only adapt those best practices in the local country but all around the world. So that's quite impressive for the Cemex Way. And the rest is history. Cemex go and bought Southdown in Texas in the United States, and he bought RMC in the UK, and a couple of years from now he bought Rinker in Australia. So Cemex is one of the most global enterprises here in Mexico, and he made it through a Cemex Way. And from my perspective, the Cemex Way should be a standard for all the international enterprises trying to establish brands all over the world and to integrate his processes, just like enterprises use the just-in-time JIT known as Toyota or the Six Sigma that GE popularized. So I'm pleased to have talked to you about this. Thank you very much.